to kind of just do it differently when you see that somebody else has kind of laid out a roadmap, and you're like, yeah, that's the route I'm on. You know?
Yeah,
like,
and even more than a
map.
roadmap, it's almost more like they've laid out signs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like the ways you can interpret different signs. Like the roadmap might be more like the business plan. Like, here's the recipe.
Right.
But it's more like, this is what you do when you get to a sign that looks like this.
Right.
You know? Let's see, the fourth principle is called the patchwork quilt. And it's a reference to, it's a bit abstract. It's a reference to the people in your network and how all the different people fit together, all the different stakeholders.
Yeah.
So the stakeholders being your family, your cheerleaders, your customers, your art suppliers, your venues, and specifically looking for two things. One is who in your patchwork quilt are the ones that are what we call self-selected. So the people that are kind of putting their hand up to be part of your life, your world, your business.
Okay.
And then the second part of that is looking for the deal you can make with them, or seeing where you can exchange value in the relationship, both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I think that that's something that we often miss, is that we don't really leverage our relationships enough.
Yes.
Or to fully see the potential or what people are capable of committing to.
Yeah.
Because we can, as entrepreneurs, you know, we can sit around and have coffee meetings all day, but until you sign a research consent form or something,
right,
I can't take the next step. Or until,
right,
you know, you pay your rent or whatever it is, right? It's like, where does the contractual arrangement occur?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, like when I was doing the network marketing training, because it's basically like training, business training to be an entrepreneur, which looks very similar.
Sure.
There's a lot of the same principles, and they kind of word them differently. But one of the really, really big ones, and it was just straight up leveraging, and that was that. It's like, how do you go out in the world and leverage? Like, what do you have? What do they have? And how do you create this like awesome symbiotic connection where everybody's just lifting everyone up? And what do those steps look like? And looking at what those, because it's like looking. So it's like the first step was always looking at what your personal assets are. And then what are your opportunities, like looking around you. Yeah, and it's like, that's a good way of looking at it. Like, who's got their hand up? And when you, like, I've never heard it worded like that, but when you think about it like that, like, you're putting pen to paper. It's like, oh, yeah, like, I mean, people are coming to mind for sure.
Yeah, and some people do
like,
it, you know, no problem. Some people and on, get back to it after a week or whichever, but it's the idea that there's some sort of commitment that's being made. There's something happening beyond an idea. Right? Yeah, and then it's just like kind of walking down those little pathways with these people and seeing where they go. Yeah. And sorry, the fifth principle, you've already articulated this beautifully, but it's called pilot in the plane. And that's just controlling what you can control. Yeah. So, and you've made a direct reference to that when I was talking about the bird in hand one. So, yeah. And just kind of letting go of sort of the ways of uncertainty and treating that as one of the lemons as well. Yeah, because, I mean, every time you don't get something that you thought you wanted, you know, like you realize in retrospect that it was definitely not what you needed. It always works that way. But when you're starting it as an entrepreneur and you don't know that, it's like the second someone says no to you, you just want to curl up into a ball and quit. I know. You know, it's hard. It's really, it's just like changing, it's like a mindset. It's like a total like overhaul of every single thing that you've ever been taught up until the point where you kind of decide that that's the path you want to go down. It's such an overhaul. Yes. And that's where the support is so important, because it's like you're trying to learn an entirely different way of living. Right. With like not a lot of, kind of feels like a bit pioneering, even though there's been so many people doing it for so long. You're still pioneering. There's, like you said, like you were saying, like not the community, but like the culture. Like, where's the culture? You know, it's like, it's okay to find like these little pockets here and there, but to actually create an infrastructure where a bit less, there's a bit less disparity between. Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of excited too to do this sort of a group in Nanaimo and a group in Tofino, kind of see how they might be affected by place too. So yeah, cool. Really exciting. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to share with you and to get to know you in the first session. That's great. The structure of the program would be that we have 4 more sessions like this, and then we have the 5 group sessions. Okay. You're welcome to book the sessions in the same way you did on that calendar.
Okay.
When you're ready, when it occurs to you, you can book all 4 next week if you want, or after every group session or whichever. I might prompt you a little bit if you don't do it at all.